Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, it's good to have you here, and if you're already an OG, good to have you back. My name is Faith. I'm a first time mom and I'm also a medical doctor, and today we're going to be talking about how to put your baby on a night routine, or how to start really. And I know there's a lot of information out there, but I'm going to give you simple steps that we took as well, and also like thinking from a medical perspective of what works for the baby and how that has helped us so far. Anyway, so let's get to it. If you see me looking down, it's because I have notes here, so every now and then I just look down to just make sure my points are being passed across. Okay, first things first, when to start. A lot of people are not sure the ideal time to start a baby on a night routine. Well, I'll give you this. For a lot of babies, well, for most babies, from the end of 3 months to the beginning of 4 months, they gradually begin to appreciate the concept of night and day. Unlike the first 3 months where they sleep any and any time, which they will continue with doing that anyway for a while until they appreciate fully the night and day sleep window or sleep cycle. And if you ask me, I'd say it's ideal to start from 4 months, because then it's slightly easier to sort of put them on that routine. But obviously it's going to be a long time ahead before they get to a full routine, but this is how and when to start. So the next thing is, what will the night routine involve? First of all, I'll give you tips on what we did and what worked for us, but feel free to work around it and do what works for you and your family. First thing we do is sort of pick a set time based on how our baby has slept during the day and how their sleep pattern was. So for my baby, she would sleep most of the day, so usually she's quite alert and awake in the night. So we started our night routine around 10 p.m. Now, whatever time you start on can be changed with time. It's just getting them to recognize the cues that says this is time for bed, it's time to sleep. So it's just basically putting them on that routine, on that process for their brains to keep identifying and recognizing the cues you're giving them. So like I said, in our case, we started at 10 p.m. and over time we went down to 9 p.m. and now we're at 8 p.m. Okay, so now we've sort of decided what time we're going to start our night routine. The next step forward is knowing what is involved in a night routine. So for us, we started with, first of all, giving the baby a bath, and then, well, not every night, to be honest with you. Some nights we give them a wipe down because some days we're tired, to be honest with you. And honestly, it's not ideal for babies to have too much baths in the beginning anyway, because of their skin. It's still quite delicate. The layers are still quite superficial. So you don't want to keep like scrubbing off their epidermal layers. But that's another topic for another day. So we start with a bath or a wipe down, and then we proceed to change their clothes. Change everything they're wearing. Even if they're wearing a onesie, just change it to a different onesie. So it's sort of making them identify, okay, something else is happening here. Change their onesie, change their nappy, of course. And then the next thing we decided to add in an extra step of reading to her before bed. So this was maximum 5 minutes. We didn't do any long reading. And at that age, at 4 months, she didn't really understand a lot of stuff. So we were just speaking to her to sort of help her speech development, and also showing her books with colors. So after reading to them, we take her into a dim room, which is her room, or in our case, because she stayed with us in our room till about 7 months before we moved her to our room. So we would dim the lights in our room just to sort of help her appreciate that, okay, it's time for sleeping, it's bedtime, it's the end of the day. And then we give her the bottle, rock her as long as she needs to be rocked, and when she's asleep, we transfer her to the cots. Now, over time, we wouldn't even let the bottle finish before putting her to a cot, because sometimes she falls asleep first of all, even before finishing the bottle, or sometimes she wouldn't even fall asleep. So does that mean you give up? Not necessarily. It's a bit of a process that needs patience, really. So we would rock her, hold her until she's ready to fall asleep, and then we'll put her down. This is the part where you have to be quite conscious of the last time they slept, because you don't want to start night routine when they've just woken up from a 3-hour nap like an hour ago. It's going to be hard to put them down. So we usually give at least 3 to 4 hours, depending on what her wake cycle was at that point in time before we started night routine. At this point in time, the time didn't really matter when you started the night routine. It's just for her to understand the night routine process and understand the cues that are involved, if that makes any sense. So like I said, we started at 10 p.m. for her because most of the time she'll sleep and then wake up by 6 and is awake until then. So yeah, and then also there's something to highlight that sometimes she may not go through the whole night routine. Sometimes she may fall asleep. Sometimes she may be quite irritable when you're maybe changing her, or when you're bathing her, or when you're feeding her, or when, not feeding her, actually she loves her food, but when you're reading to her. So sometimes we start reading and she's like, stop it, stop this, I need my food and I need to sleep, and we just follow her cues. But it doesn't necessarily mean we stop. We just continue with the same process over time for her to get used to it. Okay, so the next thing to note is that you have to understand that babies at that early age, whether you're saying 4 months, 5 months, or 6 months, a lot of the time they're not sleeping through the night. So sometimes they'll wake up intermittently after you've put them to sleep. But the one caveat, obviously, when they wake up, is you go do your normal thing, comfort them, feed them, rock them, whatever they need at that point in time to get back to sleep. But the only thing is, the only caveat I'd say personally is don't bring them out of the dim lit room, because bringing them out of the dim lit room may make them realize that, this is daytime, so it's time to be wide awake and do whatever else needs to be done in that time, whatever babies do. So I'd say be persistent with staying in the dim lit room. Obviously, nothing is rigid. If you feel like it's not working for you, if you feel like you need to come out of the dark room, do what works for you. But I'm just saying what has worked for us as parents as well. So we stay in the dim lit room, rock her, feed her, play with her, do whatever she needs to do in that dim lit room before we put her back to bed. So it may take minutes, it may take hours. It's just something to persist with, really. I guess that's parenthood for you. I guess the point of that is for them to appreciate night and day better, so that as they grow up more, they understand that, if it's dark, it's nighttime, and if it's light, it's daytime. So it's just for them to develop that sleep-wake cycle over time. This process I've told you is what we've continued till now. Obviously, now she's 1 year old. What would happen is she would have her dinner with us, and we'd take her after dinner to bathe her or wipe her down, change her clothes. But she still has a bottle, so we still keep the last bottle of the day till close to bedtime for her anyway, so that she will be able to have the bottle and then sleep. The only downside of that is she may associate sleeping with having a bottle, which we've tried to work out so far. So sometimes she will have the bottle, sometimes we'll just put her down. But I find the nights we just put her down without the bottle is a struggle for her to sleep. So we still give her a bottle until she's ready to fall asleep on her own, or until we're ready to go through that step of removing the bottle. But for now, she needs her milk anyway. So we just continue with that really until we get to that other bridge. Anyway, so this is what we've done so far that has helped us with developing a night routine. And so far, some of the benefits we've seen is that she's now so used to it that when it's around 8:30, she's quite fussy, she's quite tired. She's like, why am I still up? We need to go to bed. So we're not even allowed to have a late bedtime for her. I mean, there are times where she has a long nap in the afternoon, like right now she's napping, and she wouldn't wake up till like 3 or 4. And I usually like to leave like 4-5 hours between her last wake up time till when she goes to sleep for her to go to sleep. But I find personally that once it's clocking 8:30, she's already like fussy and not really having it. So her body's already used to that time being bedtime anyway. She may still take a bit longer to sleep after the whole routine, but she falls asleep latest 9 p.m. anyway. So I'm glad we did that. But yeah, so this is what has helped us and worked for us. And if you found it helpful, great, leave a comment below. If you have any more questions, please do leave a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a great time here like I did. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.